Hey familia, Miranda here, and welcome to another episode of First Viewing, where I share my thoughts and recommendations with you guys on films that I watched for the very first time. I know it's been a minute since I've done one of these videos, about a month or so. I just haven't really been doing a whole lot of watching, so I don't have a huge stack today, but I do have some films to get through and share with you guys my thoughts on them. So, as always, if you guys have seen any of these films, let me know your thoughts on them, but let's go on ahead and see what I have been watching. All right, so first up we have The Two Faces of January. This was actually a solid little thriller, you guys. To be honest, it was kind of a one and done for me, but it was a solid little thriller. And your three main people, honestly, I thought they all delivered really great performances in here, but this was just kind of lacking that excitement that I really needed. Like that excitement from a really good thriller or whatever. But basically you have Mortensen's character. He kind of offs by accident a detective who is after him because he is this like con artist, and also Isaac's character is also in a way a con artist. And so it's kind of, you know, con against con, and there's just kind of this little love triangle happening, murder, all that, framing, all of that. So, I mean, like I said, it's a solid little thriller if you're into that kind of thing, definitely, check it out. But for me personally, it was just kind of a one and done deal. All right, so next up we have A Rites of Passage. This is another one too that was like kind of a fine one-time watch, but I really would not watch this one again. It really wasn't all that great, to be honest, but basically you have this teacher and group of students who head over to this kind of Indian burial ground that is owned by, I guess, one of the students' family or whatever. They turned it into like something else, like these greenhouses and stuff like that, but it's all on this burial ground. Basically, there's a couple characters in here who literally are just on this long-term like high, and so there's just a lot of like kind of hallucinating going on, and it's just kind of weird. So yeah, it was okay because you kind of have the whole, like teenage partying, that kind of stuff going on, the whole kind of love triangle type stuff, and I don't know, it's just a weird mix of things. This could have been so much better had they have, tied in more the Native American aspect to it. But I mean, you only got like some glimpses here and there and stuff, and so, you would think it would have been more kind of like a little bit more spooky or something. I don't know. But it just really wasn't that. Like I said, it was just a couple characters on this crazy high. Even Christian Slater's character in here, I felt like he was just so random. But I mean, you do got, like some kills and stuff in here that were a little crazy. But other than that, it just wasn't anything that kind of wowed me or whatever. So, I mean, it's a one and done. All right, next up we have Anyone But You. This movie I really enjoyed. If you're into rom-coms and stuff, definitely check this one out. I'm actually not familiar with Sydney Sweeney. I know that she has been getting a lot of like spotlight and stuff, recognition lately. But this is actually the first thing that I am seeing her in. Glenn Powell, I kind of forgot about him. I've seen some films of his in the past and whatnot, and he, like, both of them together, they had some really great chemistry in here. I'm not gonna say that this was like I was laughing my butt off like I did with, say, like No Hard Feelings, but this is actually kind of right up there, along those lines. But it's a great little rom-com. Basically, they meet, some things kind of happen, and so they kind of go their separate ways, and then they end up coming back together, like, crossing paths again due to, like mutual friendship and stuff like that. And basically, he's like a friend of this family. The sister is marrying her sister, and so they get together for this, wedding in Australia and stuff. And it is just, it's loads of fun, you guys. Seriously, there's some great just comedic moments in here, and it is. The love chemistry and everything is there. Like, you're really feeling it. You're feeling the characters and everything. And it's a good one, you guys. There's definitely some just hilarious moments in here. Oh my goodness. But basically they pretend to get along, pretend that they're into each other, while at this wedding and stuff, to kind of like, I guess, in a way make jealous their love interests, like their former like exes or whatever, who are also at this wedding. So it's a lot, you guys, but it's fun for sure. Like I said, it's a really great little rom-com, so I highly recommend this one if you have not checked it out. You're gonna be laughing. Next up is Centurion. I think that's how you pronounce it. I actually really enjoyed this one. I'm not going to say this is like, wow, as good as say like 300, because it does have to do with like the Roman Empire, but there's this like group of like savage people or whatever who are like fighting against the Romans. But I didn't really get that same feel that you kind of get from 300, you know. But this was actually pretty well done, and there's some like good gore in here. Like you get all like the heads being chopped off and just everything there. There's some great like battle scenes and all of that. So I definitely recommend this one if you can like kind of handle the gore and all of that. But yeah, it's really good. All right, so next up we have Amsterdam. And I will say, you guys, actually rather enjoyed this one very, very much. I know this got a lot of like mixed reviews, more bad than good, but I actually thought this was a pretty good little kind of, I don't know, like mystery thriller type film. But basically these three characters right here, they have some amazing chemistry together, the three of them. I really, really enjoyed them. Christian Bale's character is definitely kind of an oddball in this one, but basically these two get framed for, not necessarily framed, but they get accused for the murder of this friend of hers. And so it just goes on this kind of crazy little adventure, I guess you could say, of trying to prove their innocence. So you meet a lot of characters along the way. But there's one character in particular that obviously when he was like first introduced, I was like, okay, there's your twist right there. So I kind of saw that coming. It was kind of predictable in that aspect, just because the character is just kind of, you know, different. Like you could tell just by the way that they acted and stuff like that. But yeah, so it was just kind of one crazy little kind of like conspiracy cover up or whatever and stuff. But there's a lot of just interesting characters in here and whatnot. And it's definitely one. I'm not going to say that I was like overly excited with this film, but I was very invested into the story. Like I didn't think that it was like paced badly or anything like that. Thought it was just perfect. But again, it's not overly exciting, but I enjoyed all the characters. I enjoyed the story. I mean, it definitely has its flaws. It could have been a little bit better in certain points and whatnot, but overall, I really did enjoy this one. All right, so now we have The Blackening. So this one, you guys, honestly, I kind of feel like this was a little bit overhyped. It had its funny moments for sure, but I didn't think that it was like overly hilarious like people were making it out to be. And obviously if you're not a fan of, you know, like racial stuff, like, or like making fun of your own ethnicity or whatever, that kind of thing, it might not be for you. But I mean, there's definitely some just downright dumb moments in here. And I just really wish that there was like a better kill count, more gore. I mean, they only give you like a little bit here and there, not very much. And I don't know, I guess I just really, really wanted more for this. I wanted to like this film more. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't as like, I guess, scary or whatever, or as funny as I was hoping it was going to be, or like I said, how people were making it out to be. But overall, it's a solid watch. I mean, I would definitely watch it again at some point. I'd definitely say my favorite character was this guy right here. But it's basically just kind of they're playing this game where they have to like answer these questions. If you get them right, then you like, you know, stuff like that. They obviously have to do with like Black people and stuff. So, I mean, The Blackening. But yeah, overall, it's an okay, fun time. Just really would have liked them to have maybe added more to like the horror factor of it, I guess. But overall, it was good. All right, next up is Wish. This one, my girls, they really like this one. Me personally, I mean, I saw the trailer ahead of time, and to be honest, I just really was not pulled in by the trailer. And watching it, as I kind of expected, this just really, I don't know, I just didn't really care much for it. Like, I didn't really care much for the storyline. Like, I get the whole thing of, like, you know, the wishes and stuff like that. But I don't know, I just didn't really feel connected to any of the characters. The storyline was just okay. And also, for this being a Disney film, I just didn't really feel very connected with these songs. Like, I feel like Disney movie songs, they definitely try to pull you in somehow. And just kind of like leave you kind of impacted. And I just didn't get that with any of the songs in this film. And I don't know, but for me, I don't know if you guys have ever kind of been like, oh, you know, you watch a movie and you kind of have an idea of how a character is going to sound or whatever. And then it just ends up being something totally different. Like I felt like a lot of characters, their voices just didn't suit their image or their personality or whatever in here. So I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it was definitely kind of off a bit. But it's kind of just a forgettable film for me, to be honest. But my girls liked it, so hey, that's all that really matters. All right, so next up, I did check out Fun Mom Dinner. This was absolutely hilarious. If you guys, I actually really wasn't expecting much from this, but I was wrong, you guys. I was wrong. If you're a fan of Bad Moms, this is basically kind of the same thing. You have a bunch of moms. They, all their kids go to like the same school and everything, and so they kind of get together for this little dinner thing. And there's like a couple moms who are really good friends, and then there's a couple other moms who are really good friends, and they kind of get together. But one of the moms, she's more of a like not really into socializing, I guess you could say, and whatnot. And so she kind of tries to just blow everything off all the time. Never wants to participate at the school or anything like that. But anywho, at the end of the day, they all end up kind of liking each other, and they just go, like, they have this dinner, and it's just kind of one crazy thing after another after another. This lady right here, what is her name? I forget. Bridget Everett, I think is her name. She is a total hoot in here, you guys. I will say this isn't maybe as raunchy, I guess, as like Bad Moms, but it is still quite up there. There's definitely, you know, kind of like some like sexual jokes and all that stuff in here, but it is a blast, you guys, honestly. Like I said, not quite Bad Moms, but it is pretty up there. So I highly recommend this one if you're just looking for a good time. They definitely do some just dumb shit in here. So yeah, definitely check it out. All right, so moving along, we have Grilled. So this film here, you guys, it wasn't really as funny as I was hoping it was going to be, but I did enjoy it. You basically have James and Romano's character. They are these meat salesmen, and so they go door to door trying to sell, you know, like meat and whatnot, and, you know, they offer like all these freebies and everything, and but basically they get kind of mixed up in a pickle, and yeah, it just kind of slowly kind of spirals out of control. They kind of just go along with things, all to basically land the big deal of a lifetime, I guess you could say. And so, I mean, yeah, if you're sounds interesting, definitely, you know, check it out. Like I said, it just wasn't overly as funny. I wish that the comedy in here would have been a little bit better, but for the most part, I did enjoy this one and I would recommend it. All right, next up we got The Wash. This one here, you guys, is just one of those dumb, cheesy comedies. I did enjoy this one. I mean, Dre and Snoop, you really can't go wrong there. There's actually several other familiar faces in here. You got like Debo from, you know, Friday, and the other dude also from Friday, the one that, you know, gets knocked out. He's in here as well. There's a couple other like familiar faces and everything, but it's just... Basically, they're working at this car wash, and their boss gets kidnapped by these first-time kidnappers. And let me tell you, they're like the world's worst kidnappers because they are just absolutely stupid. So it is hilarious, you guys, honestly. I had a good time with this one, and yeah, definitely check it out if you're just looking for kind of, you know, turn your brain off. This is dumb fun. So yeah. So getting into some horror stuff, got Scare Package. This is an anthology, and I do enjoy a good anthology myself, but this one just kind of was a miss for me. There was a couple of good stories in here. I forget exactly how many stories are actually in here, but yeah, there's a couple good ones that I did enjoy, but then there's like a few in here that's like, what the heck is the point of this story? Like, it was just so dumb, and so just because of that, like, I don't know, had all the stories have been really good or whatever, you know, maybe this would be a keeper, but I just wasn't a fan of like at least half the stories in here. So it's a no-go for me. Next up is The Hole. This one was actually okay. I kind of wanted more from the story. I feel like we don't really get much of a backstory as to like where the heck this hole came from. But basically this mom and her two sons, they move into this house, and in their basement there's just this hole in the ground, and underneath this like trap door, and it doesn't really lead anywhere. It's just like an endless like black hole, so you don't know what's down there or anything like that. But basically it holds like their fears, and so the fears basically come out and are kind of like following them and stuff like that. You have this neighbor girl who befriends the two boys, and so there was an incident that happened, so her fear, it comes from the hole, and, you know, kind of tries to scare her. Same with the older son, and then the younger son too. The little this little thing here, he calls it a clown, kind of looks more like a little jester or whatever to me. definitely creepy. Like, this does have some creepy elements to it, but I would have loved to have like more background, like on their fears, on the hole itself, and I don't know, just a better horror factor to this to just make it like totally like crazy creepy. But overall, it's a solid watch, you guys. But for me, it's just a one and done. All right, we got a couple more to go. So we have Paintball Massacre. Yeah. Cheesy for sure. Um, and basically you have this group of friends who reunite and they go on and play this game of paintball. But everybody is like being killed off or whatever. And so it's not necessarily, like with a paintball gun, but there's people like being stabbed, or there's, a good amount of gore in here, nothing too like crazy over the top. Of course, you have like intestines hanging out, all that kind of stuff that you want to see in like a cheesy horror film or whatever. But I don't know, it was just very kind of predictable. And it's like you knew when like all the kills were gonna happen, so there wasn't like any excitement there of the like not knowing. So this one, it wasn't terrible, but it's not really one that I would watch again. But it was some cheesy fun. All right, and last but not least, we have The Barge People. This one too was just kind of on the cheesy side. I mean, I like the storyline of it, and your kind of fish face people, they were interesting, that's for sure. But basically, you have these fish people who basically go out and like kill people on these barges in this like river or whatever, and basically they're like eating their faces off and stuff. So I don't know, it was just kind of weird at times. The twist I kind of saw coming, like part of it anyways, and then just the way it was ended, I was like, what? So yeah, not much to really say on this one other than it is cheesy. The acting isn't all that great. The gore was just okay, but it really wasn't anything necessarily like too exciting. But yeah, you do get some gore. There's some, decent kills and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. So that is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Join the family if you have not, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.